So let me just brief what we discussed. Yesterday, okay, say for example, we have login.java here. Okay. I modified the file in source area. Okay. And if I run git status command, it says the file is modified. How do you commit it? First, we need to add the file to the staging area. From staging, you commit, correct? So I want to commit that. So I have added it to the staging area. Green color means it is in staging area. And then now I am committing it. Till yesterday, I was able to commit because I was having all my I was having my username and email ID configured. Now I removed that setup. I'll show you how I removed it later. So first time when you commit, this is what you get. It says, please tell me who you are, because without username and then email ID, it cannot accept for change because people will see the history in the future, right? So git log file name, it has to show the username. That's not allowing you. So how do you, the question comes, how do you configure your username and email ID? People who are taking recorded sessions, if you still have, if it is not clear, very clear, you just raise this question in my next class. Okay. I can again at the end. Okay. Once people quit, I can spend 10-15 minutes and then explain the same thing. Same thing. I just elaborated a bit. Okay. See, now it is asking you to configure the username and email ID, right? See, you don't need to remember the command. It is giving you the hints here, but try to remember. Hello Git, please configure git config. Please configure user name for me. User.name. User.name. And then username you give in double quotes. Simple. Git config username, username. Hello Git, please configure username. This is my username. Clear? And then use this option -- global means use this username for all the repositories. Meaning this is my laptop, right? Assume that I want to work. This is my laptop, and then I want to work with the 2 repositories. So I'll clone one repository in one directory, one folder, another repository, another folder. So if I give global, what it will do for all repositories, no matter in which repository you are committing, it will use the same username. Global means for all repositories. Done. My username is set. Email ID, hello Git, please configure user.email, user.name, user.email. You have to remember this. Few things you need to remember, right? User.name, user.email. Email ID in double quotes. That's your official email ID, okay? And use the same email ID -- global for all repositories. Done. That's how you configure username and email ID. Only 2 commands. Once the configuration is done, you can check. Hello Git, please show me all configurations. Git config -- all lists all configurations that you have. Git config -- list, right? List. So it says this is the username configured in this mission. This is the email ID. And there are some default configurations, right, in the mission. We don't need to worry about them. Okay. Now you configure the username and email ID. That's how you configure. That's how you check what username is configured in this mission. What is the email ID configured in this mission for Git commits? Now I can commit it. Git status. I have some change, right? Let me commit it now. Git commit -m. Okay. See, username is there, email ID is there, and I'm giving the submit comment here as well. Git commit -m. Say added something. You know why you modified the file, right? Just give a clear description. Added code block login.java. See, commit is done. Now you want to see the history. git login.java. Now it is recording my name. This is recording my name. That's how you configure your username and then email ID. User.name, user.email. Do I need to configure the username and email ID every day? No. Only once. Only once you need to configure. That means it must be storing username and email ID somewhere, right? It must be storing somewhere, right? Where does it store? Here. Your user home directory. Home, and then here comes your name, okay? Harry, for example. Here, there will be a file called .gitconfig. Let's open that. See, here it has my username and email ID. Okay. So when you run that git config command, it will automatically create this particular file .gitconfig, and then it will remember here. So next time onwards, you don't need to set up username and email ID every time. There is username and email ID in this mission, right? It will just use that and then it will commit every time. So only once you need to run that command, and then it will remember username and email ID using this file, and it will be in your user home directory /home/your name. So setting up mandatory configurations. I call it the mandatory because without this, you cannot commit. Git config username, git config email ID. List will give you all the configurations, and Git stores all configurations in which file? .git config file. Interview questions. How do you set up your username? Git config -f global username. What is the meaning of -f global? In this laptop, right? I clone one repository in one folder. I clone another repository in another folder. So from one repository one, I commit something. In repository two also, I commit something. So in two repositories, it will use the same name, -f global. And where does Git stores all its configurations? User home. User home means /home/your name /dot. Simple.
Sir, are we doing this configuration in on-premise server? All these configurations.
Come again, Nivedita.
Are we doing these configurations in on-premises server or?
It happens in the user mission. It's not about the on-premise repository or GitHub repository. It is user. So I'm Harry, right? I'm Harry. I want to work on this project called Git-Session-3. What do I do, Nivedita? I clone this repository, correct? I clone this repository here. This is my laptop. I clone the repository, I add, I commit, and then I push it, right? So this is my laptop, right? So the username and email IDs are stored in my laptop, in user mission, not in the repository side. If you are working in this particular project, right? You also clone in your laptop. This is your laptop, right? So in your laptop, you set your name, email ID. So it will take your username and email ID and then commit, and then you push. Same thing comes here. So it happens in the user mission, right, Nivedita?
Yeah.
Any confusion there? Nivedita, is that clear or?
No. Can you repeat it again?
So one second, let me show it to you again. I don't have any configurations, Nivedita. Okay. I don't have any repository also. I'm user, right? I'm a DevOps engineer. I joined the project. I joined in the project. I want to modify some DevOps related automation code. So what do I do? First, I need to clone the code, correct? So there is a repository in GitHub. Assume that this GitHub repository is somewhere located in the US. It's not in our machine. It's somewhere in the US. So we created the repository in the last class, right? In GitHub. That means there is a mission here. The mission, there is a repository, means kind of a folder. Then here we are storing the code. Now I'm a DevOps engineer. I want to work I want to modify some code. So what do I do? How do I take my code, Nivedita? How do I download the code from the GitHub into my laptop?
You clone that
Clone that.
account to your machine, own machine.
Yes, yes. Then this is my laptop, right? I modify the code here, right? In the source area, add it to the save, and then I commit. Before it commits, it needs username, correct? Email ID. So we need to configure username and email ID. Where do we configure username and email ID? In my laptop, in our laptop. So git config stores the username and email ID in locally in user's laptop. So using this, for example, this commit, right? It'll say my name and then my email ID, the reason. When I push, same information goes here. My name, my user ID. For example, you are working. What do? You clone the code. You set up your name and then commit. It will record your name and then you push. Here it will show you your name. Are you confused about on-premise cloud? The terminology. Are you confused with the terminology?
No, no, no. I'm fine with it. What I was confused is, see, yesterday we have created an account, right? There only we have given the username and email ID and all, right, while creating the account. So
Okay.
again, why we need to create in the user mission like that in like Harry's mission or Nivedita mission, something like that.
So that account is we created in the
Web.
GitHub. GitHub.
Ah,
So here,
correct.
we have to create the repository, correct? We have to create the repository. So we went to the GitHub. This is GitHub, right? And then who creates the repository? For example, admin, Git admin. So Git admin should have some ID to enter into this GitHub and then created the repository. This is one-time job.
Okay.
So once admin creates the repository, then all users clone, modify, right? So they should have username and email ID configured in their laptops so that it will record their changes.
Clear.
So yesterday we created account in the GitHub in order to create the repository. This is one-time task. Probably admin will do that. And here this history is for the commits, modifications. This is to enter into GitHub.
Okay. Yeah.
Clear, Nivedita?
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. Right. So let's move on. Okay, so far we are adding the changes from the source to stage. Why?
Sir, I have one doubt.
Yes,
So,
Praveen.
in the local machine, we are creating like a username and email ID, right?
Yeah.
So, in case if we are logging in from a different machine, should we again create it?
Yes, you have to do that. Or in the different mission, if something is already there, if some other username is already set, it will be used. So you have to change it. It will pick basically it will pick your username and email ID from your local laptop, your local mission. So you have to create it if you change it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a remote repository. There is a file called login.java. Okay. So when I clone, I get login.java in local repository. Same file will be in the stage. Same file will be in the source area also. Now, as per the process, what I said, modify the file in the source area. Okay. I don't have anything. Okay. I'm cloning the repository. So this is the login.java, right? So I have .git and this is the source area. Fine. If you want to see the .git, it's a hidden file or hidden directory because it starts with the dot. You have to use -a option. So I modify the file. Git status. There is no changes. I modify the file. I want to work on something. Okay. I'll just tell something like this. Okay. Some. Okay. Git status. This file is modified. So as per the process, what we have to do, we have to add that file to the staging area. Why? You have to add the file to staging area. Simple. Adding the file to the staging area is not mandatory. It's not mandatory. you modified the file, the source area, you can directly use git commit command. You can directly use git commit command. You don't need to say git add. You can directly commit it. Yes, that is possible. But sometimes staging your changes is very helpful. In what cases? Say, for example, I'm Harry. Okay. Harry is parallelly working on two different things. There are two issues in the application. Bug, say, for example. Bug number 1. There is another bug number 2. Issue 1, issue 2. Harry is working on both the issues at a time. For fixing bug number 1, Harry modifies 4 files. These 4 files are related to issue number 1. For fixing another issue, Harry modifies 5 files. 2, 1. Okay, this is related to the first bug. This is related to second bug. Okay. Assume that if there is no stage, assume that there is no staging. Okay. Or okay, assume that there is a stage. There is a staging. There is a staging, for example. If there is a staging, you know what I can do? When I have 8 files, sorry, when I have total, 4 plus 5, 9 files modified. If there is no staging, for example, assume that I'm committing everything. I'm committing everything. Everything will be committed in one commit. That means in this commit, 9 files are there. 9 files. In this particular commit, 9 files are there. But these 9 files are related to 2 issues. Assume that you committed 9 files and then 9 files are there in a commit. After a month, you come and then you want to know what files are modified for bug fix 1, for fixing bug 1. What files are modified for bug 1? Do you have that segregation here? No. This particular commit has files modified for bug 1, bug 2, for issue 1, for issue 2. So you don't have better tracking here. You're confused. After a month, somebody will come and somebody will somebody wants to check. Somebody wants to list only the files related to bug fix 1. You have committed everything here. You should not do that. You can do it, but that is not best practice. You should not do it. So that's where we can leverage staging. If there is a staging, you know what we can do? For example, I'm ready with, this is bug number 1. This is bug number 2, say, for example. I'm done with my work, bug number 2. I'm done with my work, bug number 2. Okay. See, I'm separating the files. That means I'll add these 5 files only at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So since there's a staging, I'm able to separate all the files related to one issue, correct? If there is no staging, you cannot separate. You cannot separate. Since there is a staging area, I'm able to group the files logically. Logically in the sense, related to bug number 1, related to bug number 2, and so on. And then I commit. When I commit, what will happen? Tell me. Only these 5 files will be in one commit. So there is a better history. So remember, if you are working on multiple things in parallel, try to commit files related to one task in one commit. Don't mix everything and then commit in one commit in one commit ID. No. You are working on feature 1. When you commit, select all feature 1 related files and then commit it. Right? When you are ready, commit. Select all feature 2 related files and then commit in one commit ID. So that will give the better history. So since you have only this, so after a month, somebody can come and then just say git log and then this particular commit ID. So it will give you all the files related to only that bug fix only. So things will be easier for you. So there is no rule here. You have to stage. It's up to you. You can, if you want, you can commit everything. Nobody will stop you. It doesn't know that this is related to issue 1, this is related to issue 2. It doesn't know. But it's a best practice. So since there is a staging, you are able to selectively commit. You are able to select the files, group them here, and then commit. It is just that. Otherwise, you can directly commit the changes also. If you don't want to, say group, you can directly commit. Assume that, I'm not working on 2 things. I just modified 10 files, right? I want to commit 10 files, all 10 files. No need to stage, just directly commit them. You can commit everything also without staging also. But staging will help you to segregate, right? To logically group the files, related to one issue, and then that will show you the better history, because everything related to something is in one commit. It is just that. It's a best practice. Believe me, most of the people don't know this. You know what they do? They just modify git add, git commit, clone, git add, git commit. You ask them why you are doing git add command. Somebody explain me the process. I'm just doing it. I don't need to know, because I'm a developer. I don't want to have expertise knowledge in Git. So this is working for me. I'm fine with that. But actually speaking, so the advantage of, the purpose of having the stage is to group the changes. If you go to other version control systems, source code management tool, the stage concept is not there. It is introduced, I guess, first time in Git. No other source code management tools have the staging area concept. Clear the staging. It is a simple thing. Okay, since you're learning, I'm explaining. Otherwise, you don't need to worry about this at all. It's not a major thing at all. But yes, tell me if you have any questions. Understand this? Any questions?
No.
Okay, so usually what we do, we modify the file in the source area. So in my repository, there is a file called login.java. So when I clone, I get one file here, copy, second copy here, third copy here. I modify the file. I can add, can commit one way. Assume that I created another file. Okay, there is another file called pom.xml file, right? Pom.xml file, pom.xml. I modify this. I can directly commit this also. I can directly commit so without stage. Let me show you. You know how to stage the file, but if you want to skip the staging and then commit, you need to know the command, right? Say this. Git status. There is a modification. So how do you commit this? Git add login.java and then do git commit. We know that. What if I want to skip the staging? I don't want to, it's only one file. There is nothing to group here, right? I just want to commit it. I don't worry about the stage now. I can directly commit it. Yes. How do you commit? Git commit -m. This is how we commit. This is the command we use, right? Say added some code. That's a generic statement, right? Fixed issue related to login, something like that. And then the file name. So if you are skipping the staging, there are some rules here, okay? If you are skipping the staging, remember, I have given these rules in the notes. If you want to skip the staging, you have to add A. If you are skipping the staging, you have to add one option A. Usually what we do, modify the file, git add, git commit, right? So we are not staging, right? If you want to skip the staging, what is that option we use? -A. Enter. It says -A does not make sense. Remember, when you are skipping the staging, if you are skipping the staging, you cannot select. See, I'm giving the file means I'm selectively committing, right? Commit this. So if you are skipping the staging, you should not give anything here. If you are skipping the staging, don't mention the file name. That means what? If you have 10 files modified in the source area, it will commit all 10 files. It will commit all 10 files. So rule number 1, if you are skipping the staging, you have to commit everything. You cannot say, I have 10 modified files. I want to commit only 1 or 2. No. So that is the reason it is not allowing you to mention the file name. You are mentioning the file name means you are selecting it. I want to commit this, right? So it will not allow you to mention anything. That means whatever you have to commit everything. There is no option to group. You have to commit everything. Even those 10 files, for example, you have 10 files. 10 files are related to 2 different issues. You have to commit everything in one. But we don't want that, right? If you have those 10 files related to one thing, commit it, skip the staging. But if those 10 files are related to 2 issues, don't skip. We have to stay. That's a better option, right? So it is restricting you. So I have a file. I'm okay to commit it. I don't want to group. Okay. So I'm skipping the staging. If you want to skip the staging, skip the staging. And it is not allowing you to mention anything because you have to commit everything. Okay. So R, remember like this. If you are skipping the staging, don't mention the file name. You have to commit everything. See, everything, commit failed. I think I removed those username and things like that. Okay, let me configure the username again. Git config -fn global user dot name. I'll give Sally this time, something like this. I just want to have a different username. User dot email sally@y20.com. Okay, so git status. I have the file modified in the source area. Okay, that is login.java. Now I want to directly commit it. How do you commit? If you want to directly commit it, use -a and then don't mention the file name. Done. Git status. Okay. Very simple. If you want to skip the staging, use -a. Don't mention any file names because you have to commit everything. That's a rule. First thing. Second thing, assume that I am committing a new file. I'm creating a new file. Okay. Touch. That's a Linux command to create a new file, right? Some file name, form.xml file. ls-a git status. Okay. I have this file, right? It's a new file. Now I created a new file. I want to skip the staging and then commit directly. Can I do it? See this? Git commit -am. I'm skipping the staging means I have to use -a, right? Build automation code. Build automation code. See, is it committing? No. Git status, it's not committing. Remember, for new files, untracked file means first time you are committing, right? For new files, you cannot skip the staging. No. If it's a new file, you cannot skip the staging. 2 rules. First rule number 1. If you are skipping the staging, use -a, don't mention the file name. Second rule, if it's a new file, you have to add it to the stage and then commit. Okay. So I have to add it. Git add. Okay. Git status, if it is in the stage. Git commit -m. Build automation code. Git status. It is committed. No changes. It's not showing you anything green means the file is committed to the local repository. That's about the state. Questions? Any questions about staging? Do you understand why we use staging? One simple thing. See, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm working on bug 1. Okay. To modify, to fix this, I modified 5 files. I'm done with my work. I'm done with my work. Again, my manager comes to me, says, work on another bug. Fix this bug also. Fix this issue also. For fixing this bug, I have to modify the same files. Understand this? To fix bug number 1, I modify 5 Java files, for example, Java code, 5 files. For bug 2 also, I have to modify the same files. So bug 1 code is here. I'm done, right? I'm done actually, but I'm waiting for some approval. So I cannot commit it. Somebody has to approve me, saying, okay, fix it or, commit it. I'm waiting for the approval. At the same time, I'm waiting for the approval and somebody, comes to me and then asks me to work on bug number 2. So I cannot modify this, right? Bug number 2, I cannot modify here in the same file. If I modify, what will happen? These files have bug number 1 and bug number 2 both code. And if I commit everything, so this particular commit has issue 1 code, issue 2 code. I cannot do that. In that case, how do I manage this? See this. I modified 5 files for bug number 1. I'm done. I'm waiting for the approval. Meantime, somebody comes to me and then asks me to fix bug number 2. You know what I can do? I'll stage them. That means stage means what? Whatever code you have, same thing comes here. So bug number 1 code is, there is a separate copy for bug number 1. There is a separate copy for bug number 1 in the stage area. I cannot commit because I have not got the approval, but I have separated bug number 1. Now somebody comes to me and then asks me to work on bug number 2. I can modify this, right? I can modify. Now bug number 1 was there. Now I'll modify the code related to bug number 1. Sorry, bug number 2. So bug number 2 work is in the source area, bug number 1 work is in the staging area. Now I get the approval to commit bug number 1 code. So I commit. When I commit, what code will go here? Only the bug number 1, because I have already separated them. Now if I commit it, bug number 1 commit. Now bug number 2, anyway it is here, right? Again I'll stage it and commit it, bug number 2. See, if there is no staging, you had to modify the bug number 1, bug number 2 in the same files, and then you have to commit. You're forced to commit everything in one commit. And tomorrow, if you want to see all files related to bug number 1, bug number 2, you cannot. See the advantage of stage now. So it is just a best practice. Okay. Mostly, as I said, people don't aware of this much. They just blindly do it. That's okay, because it's not very important. But at least we are DevOps, we are experts, right? So at least let's not do that mistake. They also know, the developers also know, right? So it's very rare that, first thing people work on 2 different things in one place, right? It's very rare. And yeah, sometimes people make the mistakes, right? It's best practice. Sometimes people follow, somebody don't, but at least let's not do that. Clear with the staging concept? I hope it's very clear now with the second approach, with the second example.
Sir, when you say approval, see, if you want to commit any changes, see, in the real time, we need to take any change management approval, like CAB meeting, we need to go for all these changes, or it is a continuous deployment.
So at the time of commit, these things don't come. Change approval and then CAB approvals don't come in picture during the commits. But when you deploy the changes into the production, right, then you need cab and what you mentioned, change management you need there. So this is like, say for example, you solved some issue. For example, you're developing a feature, cash and delivery feature. You can commit. This is still your local thing. But sometimes, you are in dilemma whether to actually whether you have to take up that feature, actually or not, right? So you may have to wait for your manager's approval and things like that. In those kind of scenarios, change management and then CAP approvals required here. This is development team, my GitHub, Git repository. In demo, I explained this, right? This end-to-end build and deployment workflow. This is the development team, Git. So everybody is committing the code to, everybody is modifying the code in their laptop, and then they push that code to GitHub, right? Remote repository. So in Git, we have the code, right? So in Git, we have the code. We take the code, okay? What do we do after taking the code, Nivedita? This is DevOps engineer. Do you remember?
We'll convert into binary. We'll build it.
We convert into binary. So that means we build the code. That means we compile the code. We compile all Java code. We'll get the binaries, correct?
Yes.
Binaries. This is the production. Flipkart.com. Okay, production. So this is your Tomcat server. This is your code, for example. So who are connected to this Flipkart.com? Real users, correct?
Yeah.
Everybody. I want everybody to understand this. So see, sometimes I don't answer most of the times I don't answer the questions straightforward because I want others also understand the question and then answer. So this is a real user, right? So real user type flipkart.com, okay? And then they are accessing the Flipkart application in the browsers. So they're accessing, say, for example, right? Flipkart.com is up and running. Now, you clone the code, right? You are compiling it, right? So there is a new code, correct? New code. Now you have to push that new code to the production. It has a lot of bug fixes, features, and things like that. Can you just go and then, deploy? Deploy means copying the new code into the Flipkart.com. Can you just go and then, copy it here? No. Right? So again, it depends on the applications, right? Most of the applications go through some approvals. So this Flipkart.com is guarded by a team called CAB. Everybody, CAB, Change Advisory Board. That means there are some people here in this board, a team. What is the job of their board? Change Advisory Board. We say that means a team basically has some people. What is the job of these people? These people are, only one goal. These people have only one goal. That is what? Flipkart.com should be always up and running with the same speed, no matter what happens. They cannot bear if they cannot tolerate anything if the Flipkart.com goes down. That is the primary duty. They want website to be up and running. That's all. Change advisory board. You are modifying something. You modified something. There's a new code, right? You are pushing the new code means what? There is some change happening here. Till yesterday, whatever code you have, everything is working fine. Now you are copying some new code means what? There is some change here. There is some change. When there is a change, there is a chances of getting issues, correct? So the moment, when you deploy the code, these people are here, okay? They will not simply allow you to push the code. They will ask a lot of questions. Okay, what kind of code it is? What time you are pushing it? Are you pushing during the Big Billion Day, Amazon Great India Sales, right? Black Friday, Cyber Monday, because those days are busy days, right? So you cannot have any change here. Assume that there is some change, right? You are deploying some new code. What if something goes wrong? You lose millions, billions, right? Because right, there is a huge topic during Big Billion Day. So these people will ask you a lot of questions, what kind of code it is, right? And they will give some downtime. Sorry, not downtime. They'll give some, window, deployment window.
Maintenance window.
What is it?
Maintenance window, something.
Maintenance window, yeah, deployment window. So they'll tell you, okay, you have new code, come at this time where there is no traffic current. These people know all those things, for example. Or you have the new code, okay, I will allow you. So is it tested? They will ask all the test results and you have to explain. Who developers? Okay, fine. I'm happy with your testing and everything, test results. Now I'll deploy, I'll allow, right? Once I allow, what if again, you see some, issues, some surprising issues? How do you take it out? You tested everything fine, but there is no 100% guarantee that, it won't create issue, right? When there is some issue, what will happen again? Again, it will take some time for you to fix. You cannot wait 2 hours, 3 hours for somebody to, come and fix. So they will tell you, okay, I will allow you. If something doesn't work, do you have the script to roll back? Do you have some automation code which you can, using which you can take it out and then bring the old one? So they have to show the rollback script, test results, for example. They have some, the maintenance window or, deployment window. So a lot of things. It's like, you are, literally going into a court and then giving some justification, saying, okay, this is me, this is what I want to do. Can you approve? These people will ask you a lot of questions. Sometimes people get frustrated with these people. You hear developer comes to you and then says, when you both are having lunch, Nagesh, for example, fixing the code is very easy here. And, getting the go ahead from the cab meeting is nightmare. And these people don't understand, things. They always go, in their old school model, do you have that, this and all the stuff. Even though I say that, it will not, nothing will happen, allow me, they will not listen to me, right? Because they don't technically understand anything, lot of, things you hear usually. So that process is very, strict sometimes. And that is, this is a business team, right? So as a developer, you are biased to your code, you are a software boss. These people are, business people, right? So business, everybody is working for the business, right? So these people understand the business very well. At the same time, technology also, but it depends, right? So there is a team called Change Advisory Board team. So when developer is working on some issue, for everything, there will be a bug, a number, okay? Issue 1, issue 2, issue 3. Bug 1, right? Bug 2, bug 3, and so on. So each and every issue will have a number. Bug issue, bug number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. So, and we maintain all those things in some tool called Jira, bug tracking system. So there, they log the issue. For example, they'll create some issue that is like creating a ticket, support ticket, for example, for freshers, okay? And then you'll be having everything, okay? So who has to approve, whether the cab approval is there, whether your manager approval is there, testing manager approval is there, blah, blah, all the stuff. You track everything here. And then once you have approval and then once you get the time, at that time you have to go and then deploy the code. So we call that as change advisory board process. Change management in the sense, when there is a change, right? How safely you deploy it, right? In that, all these things come. Your manager approval, testing manager approval, right? Cab approval. It's all like a process. The process is called as change management. That's the process name. Cab is a team, people who approve it. Cab and then change management. Those two things come during the deployment, not during the commit. Not during the commit. So, Nivedita, see, I want other people to know all these things. It's a process. It's a process. It's not a DevOps. It's a process in DevOps. Okay. So in Maven, we are going to build, we are going to deploy, right? So there you will relate it. You will relate this topic. Okay. So, okay, I'm deploying the code. So before deploy, I have to take permissions from somebody. So that's where it comes. Since you don't know the build, deployment, and all the things, probably, you don't understand now, but it will be clear to you later. Very simple. You have developer write some code, right? You have taken the code. We have to compile the code and we have to deploy it into the production, right? Deploy means we have to copy. So before copy, you cannot just copy. You have to take these people approval. CAB teams, change advisory board. And if you go to that, I'm not sure if you sometimes know in sensitive environments, when you go attend those change advisory board meetings, no, you really feel it like, the code scenes. That means developer. Okay. What is developer's goal here? He developed something, right? He wants to push it. That's his duty, role, right? So developer will always try to make the change, push the change. Change advisory board, they don't like changes. They don't like changes because the stability is their goal, right? They always tries to push the changes back. They are afraid of the changes. And these people, developers, wants to make the change. See the class, correct? So this guy will tell something, this guy will not agree. And literally, sometimes you see the goosebumps. Okay, so people get into different state. For example, this guy will say, "Allow me." This guy will say, "Do whatever you want. I'm not going to allow you. Just go. That's all." Kind of words you will hear because sometimes the discussions go that way because this is also very important, right? And a lot of things happen there. So that's a nice experience basically. Sometimes the people come, everything is good, but they don't have they're not expressive, for example, or they are good technically, but they cannot convince others. They are sometimes not effective when it comes to giving the justification of both what they have done. As a result, they fail, and then they come and then say, okay, this guy is very rude on me, not understanding me and things like that. Sometimes it is a problem with the people also. Okay, so as long as you are able to showcase, give the justification about what you do, it's okay. It's not very hard, but sometimes it goes that way. I just want to make the concept interesting, so I brought those 2-3 things. And when I was in Walmart is very sensitive application, right? Usually, there used to be a room, for example, sitting, with say 20-30 people. And then every day, this is the thing. If there is any change, development, 4-5 developers come, this change advisory board is sitting there, and DevOps team is sitting there, right? So we deploy the code, right? If they say deploy the code, we deploy the code. But who has to fight? Developer, whoever is making the change, right? So those discussions were always interesting. A professional, a technical debate, you can say. That's about the change advisory board meeting. Change management process. When there is a change, when there is some issue, there's a number to it to identify that issue, right? It is open, then developers fix it. No, it will be assigned to some developer will fix it. That tester will test it, then tester will say, okay, issue is closed. Then comes to DevOps in this will build the code, compile the code. And then if you are going to the production, then developers have to show you, the approvals from the CAB team. And then we deploy the change. There are a few more steps involved there, but too early for me to explain. You'll understand those things step by step later. Clear with the CAB, change advisory board, or change management process. It's a process. When you join in the project, every company has its own process, right? When you join in a project as a DevOps engineer, somebody, okay, your team lead or your manager, somebody will come and then explain you this process. This is the process we are following, right? Without this approval, don't deploy it. Somebody will tell you, and you'll be following the process. There is no technicalities here, right? It's a process. And even if I join or you join in some company, right? Somebody has to explain me that process, right? That's called KT, knowledge transfer. When you join, you get that KT. People will not teach you Git command, Git clone, Git push, and all that stuff. No, that is not the KT. KT is what? They will explain the process. You should have that knowledge about the tools. Freshers usually have this thing. People come to me and say, I'll leave you in 1 minute. These people and say, sir, I want job first. Do whatever you want, bring me the job. I said, did you learn DevOps? I said, after joining anyway, there will be some KT period, right? 1 month or whatever, right? I'm very sharp learner. I learn the things during that KT time, and then I'm good with the things, right? I'll survive. Don't worry, you get me the job. KT doesn't mean that people will teach you all these Git commands, command commands. No, KT is a process. This is how we do. This is what we follow. So don't think that KT is the thing. Of course, if you know 70% and then 20-30% you don't know, don't have knowledge, about some tools 20-30%, that's okay. So for example, you know everything, you don't know Terraform. You can say that I know all this, but I don't know Terraform. And based on a team's culture, sometimes people come and teach you also. So but that is not the mandatory thing. So you also get those things, but yeah, KT is mostly the process, KT it is. Understand that? Any questions you have? That's called real time. That's called real time, right? This explaining, understanding CAB and all that stuff is real time. DevOps course you can get anywhere in YouTube, complete course, but who will explain this CAB and then this process? That's a real time. So that is where you join here, right? So these things are, I'm telling you, you all will be good with commands, I'm sure. Commands anybody can remember, right? But if you don't understand the process, you cannot work. That is very important than the technical skills. Okay. Concepts, processes, right? Roles, responsibilities, and things like that. Okay, that's all I have from my side. Any questions for me today?
Sir, I have one small doubt. So we have come across some cases where, for example, in Flipkart only, all of a sudden there will be a price drop, like something selling for 100 rupees will be shown as 10 rupees, and in some minutes it will be revised again to 100 rupees. Will that happen when a new code is deployed without noticing the price engine or something like that? Will it happen due to that?
No, it's not. I don't say it's a. I mean, if you take that particular context, it's not about the code. It's about they'll be modifying the prices in the backend. It's not about the code. For
Okay.
example, they'll be having some internal tools. For example, let's call it a control panel. Control panel.
Okay.
Here you have an apple, for example, banana, right? So you have the code, right? The code will read this particular file. There's a file, okay, price.txt, for example, okay, price.txt. This is your code.
Okay.
Code will
Okay.
go and then read this particular file. So here Apple say 10 rupees, for example, banana no 5 rupees, for example. So whatever you have, it will just show you to the customer. So if you want to change the price, you just go and change the price in the inventory in this particular file somewhere, right? And they'll be having some internal tools for that. They'll just go and then change. So if they make 2, for example, code will reading this, right? It will show 2 to them. So usually these things are managed using this inventory files and the backend.
Got it. Got it. Basically, a catalog team, we can say.
Yeah. Okay. Catalog. That's the right word. Yeah.
Yeah.
So code changes means, for example, cash on delivery is not showing. There is no feature cash on delivery in the Flipkart. So that comes because of the code. So you have some 10 Java files, you deploy it. So cash and delivery code is there. Now, when browser connects to this code is executed and it will show you cash and delivery. Now you can opt this cash and delivery and things like that. So this is the code effect. But these things usually will be managed in the catalog backend team, maybe non-technical people.
Got it. Got it.
Or there can be other techniques also, but quickly I can think about this. I can think of this.
Got it, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
Now, guess, do you have 5 minutes? I have one question. Already we have exceeded. See, suppose we are discussing about the scenario part, right? Suppose in one of the employer we have been banking customer like HSBC or something like that. Okay. He wanted to keep his repositories in private. Okay. So he wanted to build the repository in his in the servers itself, like on premise only, not in
On-premise, yeah.
So is there possibility to to set up that way? Like what are the prerequisites on what is the way to handle that?
It's not very easy, Nivedita. There, you may have to execute a lot of commands, then 15, 20 commands. So usually, you know what? It is there. There is a separate chapter for that in Git Pro Git. If you want, you can check it. Pro Git book. There must be a chapter called Git on the server. Git on the server. So this is a chapter dedicated using which you can set up your own server. For example, why this is executing this command. There are some pros and cons. You need to select the protocol first, Nivedita. Okay, whether you want to access the repository using HTTP or HTTPS.
Okay.
Or you can also access the repository using this like file : // It can be, if it is local, it is not suggestible. Usually it is HTTPS. That's a secure connection. So there are some commands for that, HTTPS, or you can also access the repository over SSH protocol, git clone. Usually it is HTTPS : github.com, blah, 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 repository.git, right? So you can also, instead of HTTPS, you can also use SSH. Okay, you have to select the protocol first. Then you need to have a server like Nginx or there should be a server, right? So this is you take a mission. There should be a server running here, correct? User, this is user's laptop. So when user run git clone command, right, the request will go to the server. There should be somebody here to respond to you. So that server will give you the code. So there should be a server here. So you need to install a server. One second. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Audible.
There should be a server. You need to install a server. These are all the commands to install the server. You can use either Nginx or HTTP server. There should be some server. There are different ways, so I'm just checking the right way, the best way. You have to start the server. That's all. These are all the steps related to that. So you have to first create a repository here. If you run a command called git init flip, for example, it will create a flip repository, but it is still in this mission, correct? It is still in this mission only. People cannot access. If people should access this, there should be a server running. So server, what is server job? When server gets a request, it will read the data and then it will send the data to the user, correct? Should be a server. There should be a server. So basically, using some couple of commands, you have to select the protocol, whether you want to access using SSH, HTTPS, and things like that. Protocol, setup, repository creation, and then server setup. That's all. Main key things. If you follow that notes, right, you can do that. But very rare, Nivedita, nobody uses this. But banking, finance, yes, they prefer to have their own. I'm not explaining this because it's not very important. First thing, 1% of the chance that you have to set up on-premise from scratch. Even if you join any banking, there will be a repository automatically on-premise. So it is just that you are joining in a banking finance, and it's a new company, it's a startup, and then you are the first person, and you have to set up on-premise. So that is very rare, 1-2% of the chances. Let's not waste the energy here. Instead of wasting time here, we'll spend time for some really important things. So that's the reason it is out of syllabus.
Fine, sir. Okay, understood. Yeah.
But I just wanted to give you the high level how you can do that.
Okay.
Maybe after learning it, Nivedita, if you really want to explore that, explore it. After learning it, I think if you read that, if you go through that book, right, you should be able to understand that. Or if you get any questions, you let me know. I can help you with.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Good night. See you tomorrow.
Nagesh, sir, one more thing. Do you have the notes with you, or can you able to share with us? I mean, you're preparing a notepad, right? Note plus plus or something.
So is it?
You have the comments in your notepad, right? Which you are using generally. While explaining the class, you're maintaining one sheet with you, right? The commands and all. This one.
I'll share it with you right away. Everybody just download these notes. Okay. 1 second. Just check your chat box. There is a URL. Can you click on that, everybody? The chat box, there is a URL. Copy that. Click on that. Okay, see this. If you click on that link, you will come here. This is the page. Go here. There's one option here called code. Okay. Click on that. There is one option, download zip. Download zip. Click on that. Download zip. You will get the zip file. So that there you have the class notes. Download zip. So this is the downloaded zip file. This one, okay. Just extract it. Go to Git. This is the class notes. Class notes, Git interview questions, some miscellaneous things. Forget about this. Class notes and interview questions. Just open this. You will see the notes. Okay. Likewise, you have notes tool-wise, Maven, Docker, Jenkins, and things like that. Are you able to download that zip file, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought I already shared that to you. Okay.
Thanks, Nagesh.
Thank you, Naveer.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Night.
Good night, everybody.